Hola. Welcome to episode 42 of Word to Your Mama. I'm your host, Ritzy P. I've been trying to finally put in the time and effort to promote this podcast. So far, it's just been something that was started in September during a global pandemic with little to no fanfare. Just been word of mouth, social media, stuff like that, but nothing to the next level, if you will. So I've been doing the 6-month program thing where it holds me accountable to do things. So one of the projects that I've done is finally get all the data together to put a media kit together, right? To start really trying to promote this podcast that I love doing and I hope you guys love listening to. And in the process of getting all this data together and really thinking about what the podcast is, who it's for, what kind of themes run through it and everything like that, and talking to really good friends that know me and know the podcast really well, is that the initial intro that I had on all social media, on the website, when people asked me, it was like a 1-2 liner, like the elevator pitch, has evolved, and we wanted it to evolve and speak more of what the podcast really is now. I had an idea of what it would be. It has exceeded my expectations. And so I wanted to kind of run by you like the new byline, if you will. Word to Your Mama, a podcast about the life of a Latinx mama and the lives of her amazing multicultural tribe, a celebration of shared experiences navigating this dynamic world. I've been sitting with it for a while, and I like it. And I just want to see if it resonates with you, if you feel that works. I've also been right now, the last couple of days, the media kit is up on the site, but I'm going to adjust it. The numbers have gone up in the last 3 weeks since I started this process. Also, excuse me, I wanted to add who the podcast is for. So I've been collecting data from a lot of you out there that I know really well, some that I don't know as well, but that I know really support this podcast. So I've been getting everyone's feedback, and then Papa Bear is helping me, since he's the writer, to just get everyone's stuff and put it into 1 or 2 sentences of who the podcast's for, like what type of people. So working on that. So hopefully, a serious push. Anyways, back to episode 42. We have a special guest, Dave Gilmore. Dave Dice Gilmore, original member, JDR. He's a senior financial analyst, but also, till the day he dies, he's a true hip-hop fan. I know him from college. We got into the story how we met, how I didn't really like him. I tell everyone that story in the beginning. You should never judge the book by its cover. Also, we have so many hip-hop music industry adventures that we were both in a certain space, go-getters. We worked for Nate Dogg. That was our first job, Nate Dogg Street Team, R.I.P. Nate Dogg. And then got into our perspective lanes in the music industry, really focusing on hip-hop at one time, to the point where we both incredibly ended up interns at the world-famous Wake Up Show, which was a dream for both of us. So we talk about those different stories. But I think what's important is that Dave is part of my crew, my tribe. He's family to me. But we haven't been as close, or not as close, I would say more, not in contact as we used to. We used to go to all the shows together. We used to text or, talk to each other, see each other on the reg. And it has changed. And I feel that this convo, Dave, I hope you're listening to this. He shared with me that thank you for the time and the catch up, because, we did what we did on the recording and then we did a proper catch up after. And he was like, thank you for reminding me of who I was. And I was like, no, that's not the point of this. I was just reminding you of who you are. Sometimes we lose ourselves a little bit. And I feel that a lot of us that have been on the show, a lot of the guests, we talk about that. Certain different parts of the timeline, of our current timelines, we lose ourselves a little bit. We put ourselves in something that maybe might not giving what we've been putting in back. We lose ourselves in a job that maybe is not our calling. I mean, different people have talked about different things. And sometimes we just need a reminder of not who we were, but who we are, the essence of who we are. And I just wanted this opportunity to, we talk about having guests from my multicultural tribe. And I really try to focus on diverse voices, people of color, Black, Indigenous, all different walks of life. But if I do have any Caucasians on here, we call them quality Caucasians. And that's what Dave is here, a quality Caucasian. We talk about his upbringing, how music was a huge influence in his life growing up in the Bay, how those fundamental lessons of being in those groups, liking that type of music, being white, being Jewish, how that has shaped him, how that really was a catalyst for saying, you know what, I want to work here and work with this person. I want to be a part of this. And he just made it happen. And we both did. We had these amazing, we talk about it. There was like so many different people that could have been interns at the Wake Up Show. So many different people that applied to the jobs that he applied at to work with Violet Brown. He got it. He made it happen. And he loves music. It's always a part of him. And sometimes we forget certain things. And I hope that this conversation and re-listening to this, and especially later on in the questions and comments, the amazing story and flowers that Violet Brown gives Dave, I hope he listens to this and knows that this is who he is, who he always has been, and who he will always be. The essence of this amazing person that loves music and that treats everyone the same no matter what. He's ride or die. So let's get into this. And if you haven't, watch the Elements doc, because we talk a lot about that here as well. It's #1 on iTunes. Felicidades, fellas. Let's get into it. Oh, and don't forget, stay tuned after his section for the Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear has a very, very important message for his Uncle Dave. You like though? You like that I had a E-40 playing for you as a little intro to get you hyped, get you in the state?
100%. I'm sorry my fucking headphones weren't right. Okay. We gotta jack it back up.
So Dave, how have you been? How, I don't get to talk to you. We don't talk as much as we used to. Is that your dog in the back?
Oh, you could hear her. I was wondering if you could hear her.
It's fine.
She could hear you. She could hear you too. Apparently.
She's like, I don't like who's that talking? Why is her voice like that? So how have you been? How has the pandemic been for you?
The pandemic is basically non-existent for me. To be truthful, I was dealing with some things before that. So, it was nice, smooth, easy ride for me, Being serious, it, provided some great clarity for myself in
Got it.
pandemic and being all by myself, So, I mean, for me, of course, the world changed and all that sort of thing. But ultimately, as E-40 would say, it's small things to a giant compared to what I was already going through. So it didn't mean anything really.
Got it. Like state of mind, mental state of mind.
Yeah. I mean, I was already there. I mean, shit. Everybody come up to my world. You know what I mean? But get with the program,
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think it was crazy. I think it was, once in a lifetime thing. I mean, I don't feel like it's over. I'm not even close to it. How about you guys? How are you guys doing out there?
It was tough in the beginning, of course, with both of us depending on the live music. And I'm sure people that listen to the podcast are tired of me saying the same shit, but it's the truth. Like, it was tough, but luckily we work for ourselves and we're used to making different moves and
hustler.
You know what I'm saying? And, the good thing is that on the financial end, the supernatural bear was none the wiser. And that's all we could hope for, where we just were able to focus on him and his transition into this new world, this new situation. And, we're still in it hardcore. And now for us, at least, because we have 8-year-old, the supernatural bear, to be fucking real, I'm more afraid for him now than I was a year ago because he can't get vaccinated. He's too young.
And everybody's acting like if you have a vaccination, you're good.
Yeah, which is not the fucking case.
So anyway, no.
So you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it's just, it's crazy. But we do what we do, we could only do what we can do for ourselves and try to keep this immediate family as safe as possible. I mean, that's all we could do and move accordingly. I can't how to break it down to some people, family, and just be like, you're vaccinated, but you hang out with unvaccinated motherfuckers. I can't do it. Sorry.
Right.
You're unvaccinated. Sorry. I have to move accordingly. I have to take care of the little man. And with the Delta variant is not playing. It's more contagious. I can't fuck around. So sorry.
Oh, I think you're 100% right. And I'd act that way. And you've come this far. You might as well see it through.
Yeah. I just like, gotta be as safe as possible. And it's just getting worse and worse. I have
grin and bear it.
Grin and bear it. Yeah, I have two friends that have 2 kids each that have COVID right now.
The kids have COVID.
Yeah, the kids have COVID because
my best friend, all of his kids got COVID. No, and I was like over there. And I was like, I went over for one of the kids' birthdays. And he was like, well, my son's not feeling that great. And I got in the house and I was like, okay, where's your mask?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have one. I said, if I gave you one, you put it on? He said, yeah. I said, okay, you stay over there. And then a few days later, every single one except for, I'll do the blank for you. So you don't have to blank it out that time. Okay. His mom got it too. And just he and I. And
when was this?
We're on camera, so it doesn't matter. Quit asking all these questions. Like probably a week or so ago.
I'm just saying, like, you good? Have you gotten tested?
Oh, no. Yeah, I've got tested.
Okay, all right.
I got tested. Now, there's a place around the corner from where I live that I was getting tested regularly just because it was free. It literally, like when it first hit, I would go over there. Took me 30 minutes. And then next time it was like an hour. And then all of a sudden I pulled up there. I was the only car. And it was like, wait a second, this is taking me like 5 minutes. Is free.
Yeah.
I'm going to come.
So you're good. That's good. That's good, man. But we'll talk about it later. But sure. I forgot for a second that we were on a podcast talking.
Yeah, this ain't fucking hip hop.
Haven't seen you for a while. So
this is that gutter shit.
So, let's start from the beginning, Dave. tell the folks where you're from.
Grew up in Northern California, the Bay Area, about 20 minutes south of San Francisco, aka the city, right across the bridge from the town, also known as Oakland. That's the place where I resided and where, I got all my game from, and, my personality, my flavor, my pizzazz, my panache. Most of my friends are either from the Bay or San Diego.
There you go.
Yeah. I know it's weird. So, I love the Bay Area. And even though, ironically, I've been out here in LA much longer than the Bay, I mean, nobody was telling me I'm not from the Bay or I'm not a Bay boy, because I don't feel like I'm from LA. I'll promise you that.
Yeah.
Too real, and I can't be fake to be that. Oops.
Like, I would never think of you as an LA person, no matter how long you live here. If you never go back, I'll always think of you as yay area.
You got it.
All
Absolutely.
Day.
Mm-hmm.
So let's tell the folks, let's share how we met.
And I know the part you really want to tell, so you'll have to tell how we met, and then you could bring up the part we're talking about right now, because I don't exactly remember.
I don't exactly remember either how we met. It had to been through our crew.
But I'll tell you this. You didn't like me at first.
That's
right?
the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth.
That was the one part of this show I knew damn well you were going to fucking say one way or another.
Of course. It's our story. It's our story. I think it's super important.
I agree.
You shouldn't, that sometimes people that you might not like in the beginning turn out to be family. And that's what happens here. That's what happened here.
I 100% agree. And the feeling wasn't mutual. I probably liked you from the beginning. And that was probably the problem. He probably was like, dude, why is this dude just shut the fuck up or something? But I think I learned, I think through that, I learned a really good lesson about myself. And that's like, you can't just come out the gate and just be yourself all the way 100%. You got to dial it back a little bit. And I think that, that's proved dividends to me, and definitely took me 20 plus years to learn. But, later on with my career, or I'm at work, like you can't be yourself everywhere you go. There's time and a place. So I think I definitely learned some lessons from that.
But it turned out okay for us, huh? Because we had mad adventures. And that's you're part of my family, you're part of my tribe. But on top of that,
yeah,
out of the OG crew that I talk about all the time from college, that you guys are my family, my chosen family.
Yeah.
You have a unique, let's say, distinction because you're a part of that crew. But then we also had another lane that we experienced, and that was the music industry, the hip hop, because that's what ultimately brought us together.
Definitely.
I don't know what it was. Was it like a convo? I don't know how we got started. And then once we hit that unifying source of hip hop music,
right,
then it was on and popping. And I was like, what? Of course. And then we united, and then we had our first music industry job together.
Pretty much. Yeah, that was it. Did you do something before me? You got me my first music industry job.
I did? I got it.
Probably. We talking about Nate Dogg?
Yeah.
Okay.
R.I.P. Yeah. We were for Nate Dogg Productions. It was his girlfriend. I forgot her name. I remember me and her were about
Natalie.
to fight. Natalie.
Oh, was it?
No,
that sounds right.
Natalie, maybe.
I don't know, but we were doing everything. We weren't paid enough. That's for sure.
We weren't paid, but we got paid. I couldn't remember. I was like, "What? Were we just doing it?" But we got paid.
No. We got paid.
We got paid because we also maybe we didn't get it paid our last check or something.
That sounds right.
Right. But
probably.
I don't even know how we saw about the job. I don't know if I saw it online because it wasn't, that wasn't a big thing back then. We're talking about, what was that? 90s. We're talking about 90s, late 90s.
Yeah.
like 98 maybe or something like that. And then you and I were working at Nate Dogg Productions. We were doing Street Team.
Yeah.
And who did the merch? It was like, I think I still have maybe one or two shirts left. It was Nate Dogg, but he was all white. He looked like a ghost.
I have keychains. I got water bottles.
Do you have the antenna ball?
I have. You know what I actually have? I have the mock-up of the van we were supposed to travel around it.
Shut up! Yeah. You have to send me a picture of that, please. I need to post it
whenever I dig that up.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's like in the files and the archives. And then it was crazy because so people are like, what? Some people that are listening know what that is, but if you don't know what a street team was back in the days.
Right, let's do it. Go back.
Back in the days, what did we have to do? What did our job consist of? What were street teams? What did they do?
So a street team, you had a street team that would go around to different clubs. They would, post up flyers, put up posters, talk about artists, go up and down the block and, put these posters up in those neighborhoods that you thought were the right ones to be in, go through Hollywood, everywhere. I mean, you basically had to do that to let people know that your album was coming out. You couldn't go online, you couldn't send a tweet, couldn't do a post.
Yeah, no.
You would hear about it. Maybe, I mean, it was different. You would, you could go to the record store, you could go and see when new releases were coming out, but then again, you had to, let people know that it was coming out. I think the first night we went up and put up all these posters. Remember, we went all the way straight down Long Beach Boulevard, all the way into Compton.
Yeah.
And we put them up, and you had to put them up. The higher you put them up, the better you were, because they were going to stay up longer. And then remember the next day, his name was Al. He was like, "Where the hell were you guys at last night? You guys know you could have got killed. You guys can't go over there. You guys can't be riding around putting posters up anywhere. What are you guys doing?" We're like, "We're down there. We don't care."
Yeah, it was dangerous, folks. It was dangerous because we'd be going late at night. We were doing shit you weren't supposed to be doing. We don't got a permit to put up these posters. And back in the days, depending on what areas, if a bunch of shit was coming out and concerts at the same time, it would be one telephone pole, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Just and then we had that stapler, just bat, 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 because you had to do it quick, fast, and then jump in the car, jump in the van. So, we didn't know that there was, the black and brown war going on between the
really? It was because Nate had just left Suge Knight, and
True. That too.
There was all of those problems that were going on, and we just were naive young kids.
Young. Yeah, we were young. We didn't know. But on top of that, it was also just the normal Mexican against black shit.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know that we were risking our lives for some Nate Dogg.
Yeah, he wasn't, and not everybody loved him like they love him right now. Put it to you like that.
Yeah, for real.
This was going to be his album that came out, his first album. When up to that point, he had only sung on some stuff here and there. He wasn't the hook man. He wasn't any of that.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, that we have to tell the story of when we went to the Palace. Do you remember? We were in the van. Remember, it was me and you. Do you remember this?
And, where they were where they said, "What are you guys doing here?"
when the Cholos came. And
Tell me again. Remind me.
Okay. I forgot what show was happening at the Palace, which is now called I don't know what it's called now. But we were at the Palace, and then we were outside. We had mad, stacks of flyers that we were passing out for Nate Dogg.
Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
And then you tell me. You tell it.
I think they came up and "What the fuck you guys doing here? What the fuck, Nate Dogg?" And we was like, "Fuck Nate Dogg, take all this shit." They're like, "What are you passing this stuff out?" But shit, they're paying us. They're like, "Give me all that." Fuck that. And then they threw it in the trash and was like, "Great, we still getting paid. We'll throw it away."
But dude, literally, they're about to jump us. They thought we were gonna defend like our Nate Dogg hood. I mean, we were like, what? And then do you remember they chased us? We had to run up the hill and they chased us to the car.
That part. They were chasing you, not me.
No.
I had a slow stroll.
No, you were running. We were all running. Both of us were running. We're like, fuck, those fucking cholos are gonna fuck us up. Hilarious.
The thing that I remember most about the job is how you and I were doing the job for the people that were supposed to be setting it up. We go to clubs. They were like, what do you like? Nobody told us you were coming. Yep. And we were like, oh, and then we're like, well, guess what? We're here. This is what's up. We'd like to come into your club. We got into everywhere for free. There was not one place. And then we were like, I think you and I, before we like were decide like the label had folded because that's what happened. Like you and I were sitting there. I remember vaguely in the van, like they didn't tell us where to go. They got us this, they got us that, they got us this. And then you and I were like, I think it might have been the last time we went up to like Universal City Walk or something. We were like, okay, this is it. They set us up here. This is the last time. We're not doing this shit anymore. And it was like, if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have like done anything. And I don't know, maybe that kind of like sparked something for you and your independent spirit, maybe a little bit more like, look, why do I have to work for this guy when I could do this, you know? And, you know, for me too.
Because I think we were like new to the game, so we thought we thought we were gonna learn something. But if anything, we were like, what are they thinking? I remember I almost got in a fight with his girlfriend. I don't know what she was to the company. We got our checks from her.
Senior VP.
And I remember I was like, I forgot what the situation was, but I was about to fight her, and I remember saying like, you guys need to be doing this. And like, it was like natural for me to see like, you should be doing this. Like, how come you're not doing this? And how come, you know, why is Nate Dogg all white?
But, you know, I think before that, we did kind of miss something. Before with that, you know, you, me, and Juice, we had a crew called JDR, Juice, Dice, and Ritz.
That's right.
And, you know, in college, wherever, you know, and it wasn't like, well, I guess it is kind of like today, but today's hip hop, you go to big stadiums and you can't go see no small shows, at least as far as I know. And, you know, back in our day, you had to go to small little ass clubs. No matter, you know, where it was, you had to hear about it. You had this show called The Unity, which was like probably the best events I've ever been to in my entire life.
Yeah.
You know, and all these small little shows, and we would go as you, me, and Juice, and we would go. And if it wasn't, you couldn't go, Juice and I went. And if I couldn't go, you and Juice went. You know, we had this crew of like whatever the hip hop show was, we were going every single time. And that, you know, that kind of bred everything. It was like awesome to have, like, without question, I knew somebody was going to go to this show with me. And I'm sure there were shows where it was like, oh, you can't go, we're going to go, I'm going by myself, and vice versa.
Yeah. You
know, and it wasn't in every way. And other friends would come sometimes, but most part, all of us would go together. And through that, you know, we kind of learned more about like how you're supposed to do these different things. You know, who's cool, who's not cool, seeing the same heads at different spots. So
yeah, because it was a small community. Shout out to Juice. I don't even know where he's at and what he's doing, but I hope he's doing okay.
I'm with you too. Shout out Juice.
JD Yara. And back then, folks, I just went by Ritz. Just Ritz, but only with this crew right here. Only with the crew. Yeah, so then we, you know, I don't know, we stopped doing that, and then we both went into our own we both went into the music industry in our own way, like made our own way. And then as you're from the Bay and I'm from San Diego, and we're both the biggest motherfucking fans of hip hop, and we were driving all the time from Long Beach, wherever it was, we would be there. Like stage left. That was always our shit. Stage left. And then we always had the elbow game on lock. So if anyone tried to get in front of us, boom, elbows. You couldn't pass us. You couldn't fuck with our space. Do you want to support original content that supports diverse voices? Why not support Word to Your Mama? You're listening to it right now. Become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/WTYM. There are 4 patron levels to choose from, including Good Looking Out, I'm Down, Hell Yeah, and Please Believe It. Benefits include patron shoutouts, exclusive patron-only content, and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/WTYM to take your support to the next level. Gracias.
So Ritzy and I would like go up about 4 people back. We wouldn't go any closer because, we knew motherfuckers were going to be pushing up there and we wanted our space to be able to do our thing, and then we would like go together, and at some point Juice stopped coming in. Really was just you and I, to be honest,
Yeah,
and, when
hardcore.
you were working at House of Blues, you get tickets. Where I was working at the warehouse, I'd get tickets.
Yep.
We'd always trade tickets, and you were always my +1 and vice versa. And
Yep.
then we'd go up to the front, about 4 people back, and stand there, super comfortable, plenty of space.
Yeah.
Like probably 5 people could be there, and there would always be people, especially when like the main artist would come up, they'd like come from the back and try to get up, and Ritzy and I would just stand shoulder to shoulder, like, and like put our
Elbows
muscles
extended.
on, no, we can't move it. We're about, we're like pushed up against people here. So, and then we like look back, be like, where can we go? And then they like try to circle on over, and then we would just keep our feet in one place and kind of lean over. Oh gosh. And then they get discouraged and they like, move over to the center. Go ahead, stage right, center, wherever. Like,
exactly.
Get away from here. And then we'd be like, oh, we got our space.
Exactly. You had to hold your own. So that was good time. So then we and we never let up. We're going hardcore. It's fucking the heyday of hip hop in general,
Absolutely.
But the fucking heyday of underground hip hop in LA. Like, there were so many things, and the shows, the radio shows, and this and that. Tell the folks where independently we both ended up at the same motherfucking time.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I came down from the Bay Area. Well, the one thing I was going to miss when I came down to the Bay Area was Sway and Tech's Wake Up Show. I came down here. I have no idea. This is where God exists. You know what I mean? The Wake Up Show followed me. No joke. It fucking followed me. I'm over here. If I wasn't going to a show or it wasn't some super dope concert, I literally was at home Friday or Saturdays. It's been so long, I don't remember what fucking night it was. But anyway, I was at home recording that motherfucker. I had remember the old school timers that you put on your outlet where your thing would on your alarm or your light would turn on to so the burglars wouldn't come and break it. Well, I did that shit on my fucking boom box to record the motherfucker on tapes. Anyway, so we had been going to the, wake up shows, and we would like follow them around as much as we can. And I don't know how, but I became a pest to Sway. And every time I'd see him, I'd be like, yo, let me, I want to, I want to work on this after Nate Dogg. I want to work on the show. Gave me his number, and one thing to say about them is that they were always cool and always respectful and always like open, and that's what hip hop was back then. I mean, there was hip hop beef and that sort of thing, but ultimately it was like, it's this community. There's these 4 elements. Everybody you meet, especially in LA, as people were coming up, it's like, still, if I see all those dudes today, it's like, I know some of their real names, and that's what I call them because that's what they introduced themselves to me as, you know what I mean? And it's like, I had no reason to change. But anyway, I finally went up there. You probably remember this. Before we were on the Wake Up Show, they had this big, battle between Juice and Supernatural. Remember that? And I think we were in Reseda.
Yes.
And I was fucked up. But anyway, before that, like, Exhibit was supposed to be the guest host.
Yeah.
Okay. And he had called and they're like, oh, so sorry, Exhibit cannot, or not host. Exhibit can't be a judge this time. for the big battle they had been promoting for 6 months. And when we're talking freestyles, we're talking freestyles. We're not talking written stuff. We're not talking looking at our phones.
No.
We're talking about being in Fat Beats and Super Nat grabbing records off the thing and passing them. And he's naming every single one possible, the biggest, dopest freestylers you could imagine. Big battle. Okay. So after Exhibit goes, oh, I can't make it or whatever, I call Sway the next day. Right. And I think I talked to Tech, and Tech was like, what the fuck are you calling up here before 11? And then he goes, Sway, your guy's on the phone, man. Tell him not to be calling up here before 11. My gosh, yeah. Anyway, I go, oh, Sway, it's Dave. Yeah, I heard the Exhibit couldn't judge the battle. If you're looking for one, I'm down. He was like, oh, you're down? I go, yeah. He goes, all right, we'll see. So anyway, do you remember this?
Yes.
So we were at the thing, and I don't know, they had Foster's beer, which I love Foster's because I'm from Foster City. And I don't know, they're the big oil cans. I must have had 2 or 3 of them. And Sway looks over at me before the battle and he goes, Dave, come on stage. And he pulls me up to like literally Be Real. I don't remember who else was there, but it was all big time rappers.
Yes.
And Dave is up here. But I was like really part of the thing. Anyway, I was so fucked up. And I think that's from there. That's where I was like, I want to be an intern, whatever. He's like, all right, come up, talk to Carmelita. I came up. I mean, I've been trying for probably 6 months. I go up there. I'm in there, I'm in the thing where I've been recording now. Saturdays don't mean shit or whatever day I'm there. I'm standing next to Rev. I'm in the thing. I'm hearing everything. I mean, and this is the show that's like breaking new music. This is the show that's literally the best show, unless if you were in New York and they would say they had the best show. There are a few Stretch and Bobbito.
It was like the Stretch, like they were comparable. It was like they're the ones breaking shit on the West Coast.
And so about 3 weeks later, Ritzy goes, hey, Dave, guess what? Can I ride with you? I go, what do you mean? Oh, Carmelita asked me to come up to the Wake Up Show. How in the fuck are there all these thousands and thousands and thousands of hip hoppers in LA, and like 2 best friends in the hip hop world are on this world famous show within like 3 weeks of one another?
Yep.
I mean, that's crazy. I'm getting chills right now just thinking about that. And, that was such a great time that,
for the books. It's for the books.
This is during the time when the Wu Mansion was around.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a story about that if we want that story.
Yes.
That was fun. The Wu Mansion was for the second album of the Wu-Tang Clan, when they had all got mad at each other and they decided they were going to live in this mansion up in Hollywood Hills or whatever. Anyway, I think the RZA and Inspector Deck came to the show, and they invited Sway and Tech to the show to come up to the Wu Mansion afterwards. And I was like, so they're like, yeah, what thing? So I go, Sway, well, I want to go. If I take you, Dave, you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't do nothing. All you can do is just go. If you promise me that, I'll let you go. No problem.
Yeah.
I go there, everybody's smoking, everybody's drinking. Not Sway, I'm not saying he was doing it, but anyone was. Anyway, Ghostface Killer comes walking through, sauntering through the kitchen, and all of a sudden you hear bang. And he keeps walking. Excuse me, Ghost, you dropped your bracelet. I mean, it must have been like a $90,000
shit
bracelet that just hit the ground. And he didn't even realize he didn't drop the shit. I'm like, are you kidding me? Anyway, sober night, great time, would never forget. I thought that was so crazy that he just did not realize he had dropped his bracelet, and he had so much respect as somebody. I mean, and it wasn't, just industry people up in there. There was plenty of hood motherfuckers up in there.
Yeah, they would have just jacked it for sure.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's that story. But back to us on the Wake Up Show. I mean, that was just amazing.
Yeah, it's like I don't think they even knew that we were friends like that. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't,
Carmelita definitely did not know we were friends. And I think, well, I mean, we would go around so often, everyone thought you and I were a couple. And I think Sway and Tech thought we were a couple too.
Totally.
And how you guys both up here? I mean, Carmelita didn't ask you because she knew we were friends. You just had met her on some, woman, Latina or Latinx in hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was why she invited you up there.
Yeah, I don't even remember how it happened. And, I talked to Carmelita. She was one of the first, supporters when I told her about this. And, she's down to come on. It's just scheduling hasn't happened. And I don't know if she even remembers, but, it changed the shit for me. Like every time we'd be up there and the people that we've listened to and admire, new and old, come up there and we're there too. And I'm the one that's recording their drops on Pro Tools. Like, what is this life? Like, what is, like, I don't know. It was just, it's amazing, dude. It's amazing. And I can, cannot thank them enough for doing that. And the fact the stars aligning that both you and I, hardcore hip hop fans, both end up being interns at the Wake Up Show at the same, like you said, 3 weeks apart from each other, but at the same time.
And it's not like they had a lot of interns either. There was only 2 others. So there was a total of 4 of us. I remember the first time they were like, Dave, punch in the commercials. And you're like, punch these numbers. Like, shit, I punched in the commercials. And remember the time they had us like, Carmelita couldn't be there. So you had to like read all the cities.
Yeah,
and
I think
you couldn't do it one time and he had me do it. And then he was like, go ahead. I mean,
it's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
I don't think they know who they are, and definitely to both of them and Carmelita too, and Revolution.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if they're still around, but there's YouTube videos of that time. And we're in some of those because I'm right by the phone because I'm supposed to answer the phone sometimes. But you know what? I was just talking to, if you guys listen to episode 41 of Word to Your Mama, I have DJ Bonds and DJ Breeze on talking about how they directed and produced Where We're From, the rise of LA underground hip hop, the Elements documentary. So those Element clubs happened after Unity, after Bigger B unfortunately passed away. They took over the reins. And so there's a documentary now. And I texted Dave when I was watching, I got an advanced copy, advanced link. And I was like, we're at all these shows.
Oh, where are we? And
we're not in the doc, but I remember those battles. And I remember those shows. And I was like, we're there, stage left. If they just went a little bit over here, stage left, we would be there. So anyways, I was telling them, and I don't think it's we talked to Grip on the convo about it, but then after we had a little catch up and we were talking about the Wake Up, because they talk about the Wake Up Show and stuff. And I was like, how's Rev doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like telling him, I was like, yeah, I didn't really get a chance to, Rev just was always kind of quiet. Like he didn't really talk. I go, no one really talked to me. I don't know, because I was a girl. I don't know. And then I was telling them they were rolling. I was like, yeah, King Tech hated me. Like he hated me. And
I don't think that's true.
Oh, hated me. I remember he came in to the other little studio where I recorded the drops, and I had to like take out the bad word from one of the drops. But I didn't know how to do that. And he was getting so upset with me. He's like, you just do like this. And da-da-da-da-da. And then one time Carmelita wasn't there. And so he was like, Marissa, come and da-da-da-da. And then he was like, I don't know if you remember that. Tech was like, nah.
Don't have her do it.
He was like, nah. He was like, don't do that to Carmelita. Or something like that. He's like, nah, don't do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this motherfucker hates me.
That's probably because Sway liked you more than that. I think they had a yin and yang type of thing going. But Rev I always used to, once I clued in, like I wanted to be in the studio listening to the rappers live. But once I realized, shit, if I don't have the headphones on, I can't hear the beat.
Yeah.
I was like, it ain't so cool. Let me go in Rev's room because in Rev's room, I can hear the beat and the rappers. But if you were in there, you better be fucking quiet because he's cutting and scratching, boy. You better be quiet. No, he was calm, cool, chill.
Yeah, he's a quiet.
Even.
He's like an introspective dude. They're just super talented. But so when your episode comes out, the movie, you haven't seen the doc yet. I can't wait for you to see it because
I saw the trailer. I mean, Rev did produce 43 tracks.
63.
Oh, 63. Sorry.
63.
Okay.
No, but once you see the movie, I can't wait because, it's fantastic. It's a huge part of this history that we're talking about, Like if there's a documentary about elements now, right? And then you do a documentary of the Wake Up Show and those events, a documentary of the Uni events.
Yeah.
A documentary of the Cabana at Long Beach.
Oh.
A documentary of, all these other, like that's our existence. It was on and popping. It was like, shh.
Yeah, I think once we found the Elements Club, there had to been something crazy going on for us to miss that because we were like, I don't know what day it was, what it was. And then we mix in a little Dragonfly for a little reggae here and there. We always have fun up in that motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good times, man. It was really good times. And it was the music. It was the music that really bonded us. And we just kept rising within, music at the time.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's hip hop's rise then too, because before you knew it, those smaller clubs weren't big enough anymore. And, it was, Peppers was our first big little festival. Peppers was our first big little festival. And then from there, it was like almost all the shows we were going to were either at the Key Club at the Roxy or at House of Blues.
Yeah.
And that's where the shows were. And the smaller venues didn't really exist anymore. And they were, the good thing was Ritzy and I always got him free one way or another. So, shout out to Violet Brown, who definitely was my main hookup.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, to go through all that and to get into nearly every single show. And it was like, I want to go in this. Okay, you're on the list.
Yeah, it was great. It was really great. So, people hearing part of our story, how we became, like family and how we got to be interns at the Wake Up Show. I wanted to talk about before you and I met, growing up.
Okay.
I always say on here, music saved my life, and hip hop music, all music in general, but especially hip hop music. How important was music and hip hop to you growing up in the Bay Area?
I mean, it is who I am today. I feel so fortunate that, Breaking, the movie, came out, right? At that time when I was, 1984 is probably around the time, 83, somewhere like that, when I, was 10, 9. And, I remember, having a couple favorite songs before hip hop, and that was Eye of the Tiger because I loved Rocky, and Whip It by Devo. And then the next favorite song I had was Nucleus, Jam on It, and from that point forward, it was like, matter of fact, I think my first hip hop tape was from like Columbia Music Club, some little compilation, hip hop. I mean, it was funny. I was just thinking about this the other day. Like one of the songs on there was like White Lines.
White
Lines.
Right.
And I'm like singing that. I have no idea what the hell. I know every single word. Lower, you know what I mean? It's like every single song on there right now is like an old school hit. And, from there, the culture just defined me of who I was. I'm thankful that I grew up in the Bay Area, not to say, at least where I grew up, there really weren't color lines, and I don't see color. And most of my friends are not white. And quite honestly, I took a lot of flack for that when I was younger. But it's just the way it was. I'm in sixth grade. I decided to play the saxophone, and the two guys next to me were two black guys. You know what I mean? And they're still some of my best friends today. And then I fell in love with basketball, and and I played basketball. I loved hip hop. And, lots of other people were like, why are you listening to that? I'm like, this is the real stuff. Like, I don't listen to that rock shit, and from there, I found Oakland Swap Meet, and, earlier before we started recording, my microphone was all fucked up and the audio wasn't good. And that's probably goes back to then, because I found out if I go to the Oakland Swap Meet, I could throw down $20 and get 14 tapes. And I didn't give a fuck that they were bootlegs. And I didn't give a fuck that I had to turn it up way past 10 to hear what it was saying. And I didn't give a fuck that sometimes side A was side B,
Right. Totally.
You know what I did? I found out that if I could take a little eraser and take that off, I could write the songs in my own fucking pen, and it didn't fucking matter. And I'll be honest, I have, a love for E-40, and my favorite E-40 tape's the one I got at the swap meet. I mean, and that's more cherished to me than I have tapes from him that are worth well over $150, $200 right now. But I'd trade those before my first E-40 tape that was from the swap meet. So, hip hop to me is who I am, and I'm glad to have this conversation today, because I think, over the last many years, I don't know if it's because I've gotten older. I don't know if it's because there haven't been as many shows. I don't know if it's because the people I want to listen to are harder to come by. I don't know, but I've kind of lost that touch. And I think hip hop in general has lost its touch as it's become world's number one music, and that, people don't understand the four elements of hip hop, and hip hop has somewhat lost its way as a culture, has lost its way of respect. I mean, the things that are going on, I really have always felt like hip hop kind of bridged the gap from races way back when. And those people that were into hip hop, but were already onto all this stuff that people are just now talking about. And if there were more people that listened to hip hop when they were younger, maybe the world would be different and we wouldn't have to see what we saw during the summer,
Maybe, but also with Kano, who's on an earlier episode, we talked about how, there's people that we knew in high school, college, that were all about hip hop. But then it's like, as soon as they graduated and they started working, it's like they were no longer into hip hop. Like, it was just a phase. And then when they they see you, they're like, you're still into hip hop? Like, yeah, motherfucker. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of, we were talking about that. A lot of people have like that happen. Like, how were you into hip hop back in the days, but you're not into hip hop now? Like, it doesn't even add up. It doesn't make sense. Like, I guess you weren't really a fan, I guess. I don't know. Like, you just like the popular shit. I don't know. But it's like, oh, you're still into that? Yeah. I love it. It's part of me. Like you said, it's like who I am. Of course, I'm still into hip hop.
I must have weeded those motherfuckers out a long time ago, because the only people I know are real life motherfucking hip hoppers. Because I must have known who you was back then and didn't fuck with you, because I can't think. I know there was me, you, and several other people, Violet and all that, and they were into hip hop, and there were other people that listened to rap. Okay, and I knew who the fuck they were. But I would be. You still into it? I mean, I have a good friend, MCO1, who was like, where are you? How come you're not doing that hip hop Dave shit? So I kind of, maybe you're talking about me.
No, but you still like it. You're not telling me like, oh, you still listen to that stuff, and you would never leave it. You would never leave it. It's just it's a fabric of who you are. It's a part of your molecular structure. So let's get into the segment called Questions and Comments from the Audience.
Okay.
First one. What about his dog in the Frisbee tournaments they're in? This is from your ex-roommate, the person that you've been around the country multiple times watching that MTV show.
Okay. Now it makes sense as to why motherfuckers was talking to me for so long over there. It was fucking playing secret games. Okay, go ahead.
Danny Ibarra.
Okay, what's the question?
What about his dog in the Frisbee tournaments?
How did I do, or how did I get into? What? I
don't even know that you're in these tournaments. That's how we're not in touch like that anymore.
Yeah, well, I have a Belgian Malinois dog. That's
a what?
Belgian Malinois.
Malinois. Okay.
Malinois. They're police and military dogs.
Got it.
She was doing protection training, but for different reasons, I decided to skate on out of that for a little bit. Okay. And me and my dog had opportunity. We were playing Frisbee. There's some Frisbee tournaments where different competitions here and there, and we started to enter some of those events. We've done pretty well. First competition I went up for, did not know the rules, placed last, and the next one we came in first.
Oh shit.
So, and I was just in one this last weekend, and I did this thing called freestyle, not rapping, but you kind of throw the Frisbee around. I didn't have a routine or anything like that, and I missed out third place by 1 point. Frankie always does well. It always comes down to me, but she had a good time. I had a good time.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next one. How do you stay connected to music? And that is from one of your oldest friends as well, and also now currently one of your coworkers, Rebecca Cervantes. That's a Word to Your Mama episode number 12 guest. He just left the screen, folks. He left his seat. I don't know where he went. And now he's back.
Sorry. How do I stay connected to music? I mean, you can't see it right now, but I've got about,
It's fuzzed out. Your background
is fuzzed out. But anyway, long story short, I got a large ass motherfucking collection. I stare at it every fucking day. On Spotify, constantly trying to find new shit. But, it's not super easy to stay into music when I don't really drive too far anymore, but it's always around me. It's in everything I do. It's kind of sad now that I'm kind of thinking about it, but I guess, it's harder to find the music I want to listen to now that Spotify's around. You kind of go.
It seemed would be easier.
You go on there, it's like, okay, search new releases. You go on new releases and they're putting we think you'd like this, but no, motherfucker, I don't like that.
How long have you been on Spotify?
I'm a beta tester, put it to you like that.
Okay. Because once you start listening to the shit that you like, new, old, the reason why I had a free account for a long time. And then I did little, trials for different music streaming platforms. And then I've been on there either with the free account, and now I pay for that shit because it's the best one for years. I've been on it for years. And now the past 2 years or 3 years, I pay for a premium account because I don't want any commercials or anything like that. And I want to be able to skip shit and find whatever, because once you start using it and playing your shit, it really gets a great algorithm going, and you'll be like, yes, Spotify, I would like that. Thank you. And then time capsules and all these different things. Once it gets to know your music taste, it really, really does a really good job, I feel.
Okay. I do pay as well. So we're even par there. I feel like Spotify, just because, one thing we didn't talk about is I did work at Amoeba in Hollywood. And, I think Spotify will always only have about 70% of what I want to listen to, because there's lots of old school soul and different shit like that I can't necessarily, that's out of print. The label's gone. It can't be on there. And I mean, it does find some stuff, but I'm talking about looking for new Bay Area releases. I mean, it's just, I think you're probably digging into the curated playlists that I wouldn't necessarily listen to. But now that you've said something, maybe I'll give them a shot.
If you've been there for a while, and you've been listening, whatever you can find that you like, you know what I'm saying? If you listen to the ones that are for you, maybe not the new releases, but like the time capsule ones you like, once you start, hearting the ones you like, it starts putting them together. And now I have all these different playlists. And then I have this one where it kind of shows me new shit with old shit mixed in that they think I would like. I mean, it's great. And I understand like there's out of print, like newer shit that might not be on there, but eventually it will be on there. But out of all the platforms, they have, I feel more obscure stuff because you can, you could be the kid down the street made a track and now you can put it on Spotify, no problem. So you can find stuff.
Where? Like SoundCloud type shit could be up on there?
Yeah, totally. As long as you put it up. It was, who was it? It was someone, a friend of mine, their son has a song. And I was like, oh, cool. Where can I listen to it? He's like, Spotify. To put it on Spotify. He's not on a label. Totally independent shit. Put it on Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, me and my friend, you may remember, I would put out these mixtapes with my other friend once MP3s came out, and we put out like monthly stuff. Me and my boy Juan, later Jay, and we're on there. We curate many playlists from R&B, soul, jazz, all the way down. So I don't know, maybe that's my fault that I'm just have my nose stuck up and that my playlist is better than Spotify's. Because I tell you, I could put on one of those playlists, our rap playlist or a Bay Area playlist, and I'm not skipping a song. Me and this guy, similar to friends like you are, who I met through eBay on a Too Short record deal that went awry back in eBay very beginning days. He and I are still probably best music friends. I've never met somebody in my life that if he likes something, I like it. I mean, 99.99% of the time. So we have a collabo thing, but okay. So that's how I stay connected with Spotify.
With Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever, like a bunch of different things. I feel like you don't have to drive anywhere because there's, a lot of the show, it's a pandemic anyways, but also now you can reach all over the world and find some good shit.
No, I definitely have found lots and lots and lots of stuff on there. I'm not saying it's not that.
And I feel like, the up and coming Bay Area folks, they're young, they're savvy. They're uploading somewhere. You can listen to it on the internets.
I mean, stuff I've found, yes. I don't think they've quite figured it out. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do, help them figure it the fuck out. But I don't think they're all straight on there. But, I mean, rap these days, they almost all sound the same.
Some. Don't turn, Dave, don't be one of those people that are in our age bracket. They're like, I don't. I'm trying not.
I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Don't turn into one of those.
I need help finding those new folks. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So the last one of the questions and comments from the audience, let me read it to you. Here.
Please.
Let me read it to you. Let me get
Your
it
hair
together.
Looks nice.
Oh, thanks. I have it in some little braids. Thank you. I have heard Dave's version of how he came to the warehouse to meet me. I am always honored to hear him tell it, but I am not sure if Dave knows how much he impressed me when he came into my office for the first time. At work, I often felt like I was on an island by myself. Although my department was loaded with great and knowledgeable music buyers, I felt that I had no one to talk hip hop with. I have always loved music and always just about all genres. If the music is good and speaks to my heart, I am with it. So I could discuss rock, alternative, pop, country, etc. with the other buyers. But when it came to my genres, they were not very interested. It was as though I was buying world music and speaking another language when it came to my genres. I received new music from hot new artists long before they were released, and I could not listen, then run into another office to share my excitement with them. In fact, the few times that I did, they would say, I don't get it, or I don't hear it. I would have major rappers show up at my office and it would be of no interest to them. The most excitement I ever saw in them was when like Suge Knight or Rodney King would come to my office. They knew them for being in the news and being infamous. When Eminem came by one day, one of them told me, a white rapper? That will never happen. As though M was the first white rapper. And this was coming from a white person that knew nothing about rap. I won some big hip hop honors and accolades, and it meant nothing to the rest of these buyers. So that painted the picture of what I was up against in my office. So when I met Dave in our lunchroom, he stood and told me why he came into the warehouse. And I wanted to know him. I invited him to my office and heard all about the rappers that he loved. And it just so happened that I had some new music from some of them in my office. I finally had someone in my company that was excited to talk hip hop. It made perfect sense that Dave loved hip hop because many of the industry leaders were also white and several were Jewish, just like Dave. Dave had crazy knowledge of hip hop. He knew lyrics, where everyone was from. So Dave became my road dog, my plus one or two, depending if my partner joined us for shows. We went to all the A-list hip hop events. I loved introducing Dave to some of his hip hop heroes. Dave is still like a son to me. He is smart, witty, sometimes corny, and he has a heart of gold, and no one can write letters and cards as heartfelt as Dave. That is from Violet Brown, VP of Label Development at Strange Music, formerly Director of Urban Music at the Warehouse Music and FYE. Is that what it was called back in the days?
Yeah. For your entertainment.
For your entertainment. So she gave you a comment, and I think that was amazing. What do we think about that?
Well, first off, I want to say I love you and I appreciate you for going out there and like talking to her about that. And I definitely love Violet. And, you know, I've done many things over the last couple of years just to stay close to her that have nothing to do with hip hop. And I love her for sharing that. And her and I have been friends for well over 20 years. And I did not know that, and so I'm going to do my best to keep it together here, but that's awesome to hear that. I mean, I could talk about Violet for a whole nother hour. I could talk about all the different places and the folks she introduced me to. What specifically do you want to know to shorten this motherfucker up?
So I just wanted to let that sink in. I want you to be able to hear it, and then you'll be able to hear it again when you hopefully listen to this episode. But I just wanted to take a pause because, you know, I know she's someone that's very special to you. So I wanted to make sure to reach out to her and get a question or comment. And she went above and beyond. Thank you, Violet, for doing this. And then she has her question. Here's my question for Dave. If you could plan the perfect huge hip hop festival like Coachella, but all hip hop, who would be the acts?
Okay.
She's like, I don't want to say living or dead because all the dead artists could take up a whole festival.
Okay. There's nobody dead I'd invite.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there are, but they take a whole festival, just like you said. So only hip hop, right?
She said, yeah, huge hip hop festival.
Well, Sade's out, so she would be the headliner. So we'll have to go with Too Short.
Okay.
We'll have to go with E-40.
Of course.
Okay. Then we'll have to go with my favorite hip hop group, Dilated Peoples.
All right, for sure.
And can I get groups back together?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so let me just say about Dilated is the de facto favorite hip hop group of all time because they're the only ones that did not break up. EPMD would be there.
Yeah.
And the Ghetto Boys.
Nice.
Of course, Bushwick, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Let's see. Gosh, can't invite him. He's gone. Mac Dre, I would love to have Mac Dre.
Sure.
I would bring Mac Dre for a hologram. God damn. KRS-One would have to be there.
The teacher? We didn't talk about that.
You know, he just came out with something not too long ago. Temple of Hip Hop. I'm Temple of Hip Hop member 213. You can't get more. You can't get any more LA than that. He had a hip hop thing out here, all about the elements of hip hop. Shit. Gosh. Man, you go up on my wall over here. I'm just supposed to name up everybody.
I mean, I guess you said who would be the perfect lineup for your.
I've named all those folks. I mean, the Goody Mob. I'd probably love to have the Goody Mob there. Outkast, that music box shit. God, I'm a huge Luke Skywalker fan. I would want 2 Live Crew there. Gosh, now I'm naming all these folks. You realize that a lot of these folks are gone, you know? But geez, I had a great time with Violet at a Luke Skywalker party. Were you out there in Palm Springs? Oh my God.
No, I did not.
Oh my God. This was the best party I'd ever been to in my life.
Was that a house? Hotel?
Oh yes, it was in a hotel room. I'm not going to go into that, but let me tell you, if I ever got married, trust me, somehow, some way, Luke Skywalker's throwing my motherfucking bachelor party. I promise you that. Gosh, who else can we get? We could get Tech 9 could be there, definitely. Geez, the Wu-Tang Clan would have to come. Spice One. Oh, damn. MC8, Compton's Most Wanted. I'd have Compton's Most Wanted do their whole first album. They don't got to do anything else, just their first album. DJ Quick. J.O. Felony could come in and do his song with 40.
Nope.
Well, he could do 40 songs.
Okay.
You know, I'll tell you this about J.O. Felony. He had, and if I ever found this, it was back when you couldn't he had the most unique way of making a clean album ever. I don't remember what album it was, but whenever there would be bad words, he found the right sound to let you know exactly what he was talking about. So, you know, man, gosh, I don't know. I think I've named all the.
That's a long ass festival. That's multiple days.
LMNO would have to be there. Just for you and I.
Grin and bear it.
Yeah, we could do our old classic. We'd have to get Rocka to do Friction. That's for damn sure.
Please believe it. I keep asking him to do it somewhere, somehow.
Man. Has to be one other person I'm forgetting. You tell me who I'm forgetting. You give me 3 that you're like, Dave, what about them?
No, I think for you and who you love, I think you name the heavy hitters that would most def have to be there.
Most def, fine, bring them.
Black Star.
Oh my God, tell me about it.
Or have everybody from what was that? Sound bombing, do all that shit.
Just do that, yeah.
That would be dope.
I think one of those songs popped up the other day, actually, on a playlist. I was like, damn, that's right. This sound bombing CD was the shit.
I need to listen. I'm going to listen to that tomorrow. I haven't listened to it in a while. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it fucking still holds.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get Young Boy Never Broke Again. I do like him. He's a new artist. I'm not new anymore. Okay. You don't know him?
I'm not knowing. I'm not up.
Okay, well, he's probably the hottest young rapper there is. He's dope as fuck. He has his own style. You know, back in our day, you had to have a style. You couldn't just buy it off of somebody, because if you did, then they'd be like, you don't have your own style. You could take some parts of somebody's style, but still make it your own.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the young dudes that I like.
And
but
from the Bay?
No. He's from Louisiana. You've never heard of him?
I don't think so. No.
He's the last concert I went to right before COVID straight hit. And believe it or not, I actually paid for the concert ticket.
Whoa.
And
no, you have to send me a link to his shit, because I'm not knowing.
All right, I'll give you my playlist.
Okay. Yeah, do that. And then I'll give you my playlist, old school hype songs that I think you would love. I think you would
Absolutely.
love. Okay, so you think you got it all? That's a big lineup. You think we're good on your?
I don't think I even scratched the surface, but I got all the people I'd be excited to see. Shit. But
okay, so.
And I think I'd have met them all because of you or Violet. So just to button just to button that up real quick. Like I think outside of literally Compton's Most Wanted and the Goody Mob,
everybody else.
I don't think I'd have met everyone else, and almost all of them would know my name.
That's real. That's you're stating facts. Facts.
With Violet, I had met Violet, and she told you that little story there. I'm not lying to you. She found out E-40 was my favorite rapper. It probably wasn't 4 days later. She said, "Dave, come down to the office."
I remember you told me about that shit.
I said, "What?" She goes, "Somebody wants to talk to you on the phone." I come in there. "What's up, Dave? This is E-40," and this actually circles back to you, because back in the day, I had made this 2-hour tape. It was the longest tape you could make, 120 minutes. It was called The Click, The Come Up. And you somehow, I don't remember, you can maybe fill that in, but you had got the tape and you introduced me to his brother, Young Muggsy.
Me?
Yes, you. And you introduced me to Young Muggsy. It might have been before I was working with Nate Dogg, but anyway, introduced me to Young Muggsy. I gave him the tape and he gave it to 40.
Oh.
I walk in the office and he's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Did you get that tape?" He's like, "Yes, Muggsy gave me that tape, blah, 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 blah." And I'm not lying to you. From that day forward, 40 would call me on his own and be like, "Dave, I want to play some new shit for you. What do you think?"
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. It was amazing. Yeah. We were so hyped for you because we know how much that meant. And first of all, let me just say this for the folks out there.
Yeah.
Dave was like, "I know who Violet Brown is. I want to work with Violet Brown." So what does Dave do? He goes and he gets himself a job to work at Warehouse and to be near Violet, work with Violet. Like he just made it happen.
And Violet, for those folks that don't know, there was the Source magazine, which was the biggest hip hop magazine there was. And every year, and it was maybe to what she was talking about, the big award she won, she was named every single year in the Source magazine 30 most powerful people. And it said she worked for the Warehouse. There was a Warehouse store down the street. There was a group called Ugly Duckling. There was a boy by the name of Rodney, DJ
Shout
Einstein, who I asked him about. Does he live in Palm Springs? I think he might.
Yeah, he does. He's one of the reasons why we moved out. He was like, "Yeah, it's nice."
Okay. All right. So that's my boy. So anyway, I was like, "Do you know her?" And he was like, "Yeah, she's hella cool. She helped us get our deal."
Yeah.
And the first concert she invited me to? Ugly Duckling at the Troubadour.
And I have pictures that I think they used for a couple of things, because at the time I thought I was going to be a photographer, remember? And then you guys, I think Warehouse had like a radio show or something like that. They're trying to get one done. And then Ugly Duckling was on. So I have these amazing black and white photos that I took of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then DJ Young Einstein, Rodney, he would, his signature look is his gold ropes, his rope chains. And it was him and the other two dudes. And I have photos. So that was like before anything. I don't even know where I was working at the time. And then you hooked me up with that.
Weren't you working for some magazine, some
Hits magazine? I was working.
There it was.
But you know what? If I gave your tape to
Muggsy,
if I gave it to Muggsy, I was like, how did I do that? The only way I can think that I did that was maybe through Bosco, because I was interning for Bosco.
I think we must have went to a party or something like that, and then Muggsy was there. And I got to say, he's like one of the realest people I ever met in my entire life. Like,
had to be there.
And I feel bad that I ain't kept in touch with him like I should have. But anyway, yes.
Yeah, because I was interning there, and then he had a record release party. I remember
that was it. It was at the record release party.
Naisha was there. Like, I invited everybody. I think Aaron was there. We all went, and all you guys were there.
I probably had the tape in my pocket, like hoping somebody I bump into somebody. Yeah, so maybe you didn't give it to him. I gave it to him, but it was because of that party. But it was
because of that party. Because I don't think I would. But maybe you wanted him to get it. I could see maybe you saying like, "Go give this to him," and I'll be like, "Hey." But
no, I'm pretty sure.
I think you did it yourself, but it was at that thing. At that, definitely.
Bosco, wow.
Bosco, yeah. Look him up, producer. I just recently he's on TikTok. I call it TikTok, but he's on that. It's crazy. I forgot that I interned for Bosco. we forget all. It's a long history. It's a long history of music. Okay. Before you go, let's get into the not so rapid fire questions, the AKA slow as hell questions.
All right.
First one, 3 words to describe yourself, Dave.
Fair, loyal, committed.
Please believe it. What's the best piece of advice you received?
The grass grows where you water it.
Say that again. Say that again, Dave, for the people in the back.
The grass grows where you water it.
That's right. That is correct. And I think, tell me if you agree, I think you realize it as you get older.
Absolutely. You can take that statement and apply it to anything in your life. If you want to be negative, you could be negative. You want to be positive, you could be positive. You want to be in a fucked up mood for 10 minutes because you want to take that moment, you can take that moment. But, ultimately, we are controlled by our thoughts, and we're in control of that in those situations. And it is what it is. And I'm not going to sit here and say I got it all figured out. And I've been watering hella wrong motherfucking places for quite some time. But nevertheless, this right here is a positive place. I think you can apply that to anything. I'm trying to teach that to anybody I meet.
For sure. And I feel like the younger you learn that lesson, you realize it and you apply it, the better you are. Okay, the next one. What is the song that you put on to get hyped? When you need to get hyped, you need a little extra oomph. You're about to head into something, you're a little nervous or, whatever. What's your go-to song?
I got a hip hop one, which is Mac Dre, Doing What I Do. Okay. And then I got my one for everyone else today in a hip hop, and that'll be my Elton John, Still Standing.
I love that.
Okay.
And I will make sure that I add those to the Word to Your Mama guest hype song playlist that I am putting together right now. So you'll be able to hear that. And so we'll have everything from MOP Ante Up to Elton John.
Bring them to the festival. I forgot about them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, last question. What will be your legacy?
I think for me, as I look back and had kind of an introspective week over this last week with some, pretty shocking news, is that I got to be me. I always got to wear my heart on my sleeve. And if folks take advantage of that, they take advantage of that. And I'm always going to be who you met on day one, even if you didn't like me in the first 15 minutes. I'm not going to bite my tongue, hold my tongue, and not tell you exactly what it is I feel about you, because I know in my heart I speak the truth. And, my legacy is hopefully going to be like he said who he was. He was fair. He was honest. He was loyal. No matter what I did to him, he had my back. All those things that I feel like, quite honestly, my mom taught me and showed me who I was that I have later on in life. And, I want to definitely be able to, as you get older, you run into the youth, and you try to tell the youth earlier on and hope that they'll learn the lessons from you. And, I'm probably one of them old guys now that's just like, shut the fuck up, but ultimately I'm not going to shut the fuck up, because I think if it could sink in just a little bit to one person, one younger person earlier than it took for me to learn those lessons, I think they'd be better off of it. But I hope my legacy is that he was real as fuck. He didn't do dirt to nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you couldn't shake him, and nobody could ever say that I wasn't a good friend.
That's real. I can concur for sure. You are family, Dave. You always have my back, even if we don't talk as much anymore. We're not going to as many shows. It doesn't matter. I know in my fucking bones, if I need you, I call you without question. You're down. You got my back. You'll do whatever I need. And I hope you know that it's vice versa, that I got your back and you could always reach out no matter what.
100%. And I feel the exact same way. It doesn't, I was talking with Danny and Jose the other day, and we talked for over 2 hours, and, it wasn't like shit. I mean, you don't spend that many days together and just lose track of somebody, especially when they're real people. And I love you, and I appreciate you for having me on. And I'm so proud of you for, sticking to the hustle that you put forth. Gosh, it feels like over 20 years already. And, I know it's been an up and down road, and I'm so proud of you.
No, thank you, Dave. I love you too. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. And when the pandemic is over, let's get back into some shows. Let's, stage left, elbows up.
Shit, I was counting on that 25th, 30-year anniversary Dilated show. So shit.
I know, shit. Next year, hopefully. That would have been amazing, dude. Right there. It was about to be epic. It was about to be epic.
We were, Danny, Aaron, Rebecca, and I were all talking about doing a 30-year anniversary party. You can come, even though you're a year behind us, but you could come.
Thanks, Dave.
All right.
Thanks.
Peace.
Staying competitive in these dynamic times means having the right technology at work for your small or medium-sized business. Whether your goal is to grow, downsize, or modernize, Panoply BPO provides the right combination of tools, support, and affordability necessary to make it a reality. Visit panoplybpo.com. That's PANOPLYBPO.com to schedule your no-obligation consultation today. Mention WTYM and get your 13th month of service for free. PanoplyBPO.com. There is a better way. And now, introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear. What's up, everyone? I am SMB16, or the Supernatural Bear, and today, for Uncle Dave's episode, I'm going to tell you guys the story of how I owe my life to him. Like, literally, I do. So it goes all the way back to, I think college, yeah. My mom was in college. She met this person named Thea Aaron, who is either already has an episode or might get an episode soon. We'll talk about her later. But Thea Aaron had like a crew, and Uncle Dave was a part of the crew. And my mom didn't like Uncle Dave at first. She likes him now. So, yeah. But Uncle Dave is actually the person who introduced Mama to my father, who is coming up on the yearly episode. And, Uncle Dave introduced my mom to my father, then they started dating, had me, got married, and happily ever after. I do kind of owe my life to Uncle Dave for introducing my dad to my mom. Because without my dad and my mom being together, and if Uncle Dave didn't introduce my dad to my mom, then I wouldn't be around, folks. Anyway, that's the story of how my Uncle Dave saved my life. This has been SMB.
Shoopy-doo. Yeah. There you have it, folks. Episode 42, A Word to Your Mama, with someone that is definitely part of my tribe, mi familia, a quality Caucasian, if you will, Dave Dice Gilmore, JDR for life. And what about my little man giving that story? That came up recently. We went up to finally visit his grandparents. Hadn't seen him in person since January of 2021. And we went up there, and then Grandma B was like, oh, he was telling me the story of the two most important people in his life. And he talked about his Uncle Dave, and he's mentioned that story. And I was like, well, now you know when I have your Uncle Dave on, what will be your Supernatural Bear Corner? Boom, easy breeze, no brainer, my little man's. Yeah, what he said is true. Dave was very instrumental in me meeting my now husband. Hate saying that word. My partner in crime, if you will, and it is true. He had a lot to do with that, so that's hilarious that he thought of that. Anyways, let's remember, folks, this episode is really about remembering not who you were, but who you are. There's certain things that are essential to you and how you move accordingly. And sometimes you forget, and sometimes you need to be reminded a little bit. And I think this was one of those times, and I'm hoping this is something that Dave will always remember. Also, thank you so much for your continued support. This will be the last episode of August 2021. We started this podcast just because I had nothing to do and I needed a creative outlet. I didn't have the bandwidth to create any type of visual art. So I wanted to express myself with this. And we started last September. September 10th was the first when I dropped the first 3 episodes. So what we're going to do, since the first Monday of September is Labor Day, I'm going to repost one of the earlier episodes that I think would probably be amazing for those who are new to the podcast to take a gander during your holiday. And then after that, we're going to be coming with a special 1-year anniversary episode. So if you have anything you would like to say, you would like to ask, that you want us to answer on during that episode, please hit us up at hola at wordyourmama.com. And don't forget, you can hit us up on any of the socials at WTYMAMA. That's WTY Mama. Also, my Facebook account was hacked. Make sure you guys do the appropriate security measures that they have in place now, because they are out there and they'll get your shit. I could give a fuck about Facebook, but I have to be on there because of the Supernatural Bears co-op and a couple of other enrichment classes that he takes. So I've been on there since 2009, already downloaded all my stuff, waiting for the day that I could quit that. But it's been a pain, and I had to redo all of my passwords for everything because these hackers got in, guys. And now I have no control over the Word to Your Mama Facebook page, but I can still post on it. So, it is what it is. So make sure you do that. But we're going to have that special episode. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you so much for the continued support. If you are interested and would like a copy of the media kit, please go to wordtoyourmama.com, hit the media kit button. In the next couple of days, by September 1st, will be the updated version. If you would like me to send it to you directly, hit me up. I will send it to you. Let's spread the word, guys. Leave a review. Let's help people find us. And let's continue to spread these amazing stories from these amazing people. As my good friend Kim says, that this helps with the universal and the specific. These specific stories that are universally appealing to everyone. Everyone can find little snippets, little tidbits that they can grab onto, learn from, or just see someone that has similar shit. As always, we reap. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy P. The intro is produced by Nico Beats. If you want to get a hold of us and see other things, all there is to know, go to wordtoyourmama.com. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by ritzyperiwinkle.com and panoplybpo.com.